Hello, everybody. Coming on. You can't answer me because this is webinar format, but that's okay. Come on down. The chat bar is open. If you are in, say hello. I'm looking at the name right now, seeing who I know. Eddie, Goonie, Jade. Jade is in 3 times. That's super weird. Justin, Young. All right. We'll wait for everybody. We'll give everybody a minute or two to get in here, and then we will get started on our 2-hour, not 3-hour Gilligan's Island tour. Jade, what I'm thinking is you might have shared your invite with other people, and it's your name specific. So Marianne Chu has the same thing going on. So if you shared it with somebody else, that's why you're showing up 3 times, because they're you 3 times. So no big deal. All right. So, give everybody a minute or two to get on here. As you guys are on, I'll just talk to you real quick because we're right now we're in stall mode, just so you know. We will jump into content here in just a second, and I will say this part again right before we start, once we get everybody in. Theoretically, according to the algorithm, we should have 26 people join. We'll see if their algorithm holds up or not, but 26 people joining should be the number. So we'll see where we get to here in a second. But use the chat feature, please. Use the chat, be interactive on there. It gets super boring having it just be me because I can't see you. I'm only looking at the green dot, right? Maybe looking at myself, which isn't even as fun as looking at the green dot. So please use the chat, be interactive, ask questions as we go through. This isn't the kind of interaction where you can just raise your hand because I can't see you, and it's not the kind that you can just talk because I can't hear you. So please use the chat bar. Questions for me, chatting, everything will go over there. Also, there's some disclosures going on over in that chat bar. So if you guys want to read them, basically says, whatever Dan says, we might not necessarily be the view of Orange County Realtors. We have our own views, and Dan has his own views. So that is your little disclaimer over there. All right. Cool. My chat bar is open. I'm ready to rock and roll over here. I have the content ready. So we're going to give everybody 1 more minute. I like waiting until I give everybody the full 3 minutes of running late or having Zoom tech issues before we get going. Yes, Alexa, there will be a recording link shared. You'll get it sometime in the next 2 to 4 days, probably, via email, because you registered. So whoever registered, it gets sent to automatically. And then if that goes to spam or you delete it on accident, you can always just go to the Orange County Realtors YouTube page, and it will be there as well, pretty much simultaneously with the same time you get sent that email. So hopefully that answers your question. I feel like I answered that question very well. All right, so again, it's 11:03. Let's get this started. Let's make this as interactive as we can. So lots of questions, lots of stuff in the chat bar. I have it open. It's not like I have a bunch of heads to look at. I have me and the Orange County Realtors logo to look at. So super boring on my front. We were supposed to originally, when we booked this back in January, we were going to be doing this in living color, live and in person at the Orange County Realtors Laguna Hills office location, but that room is currently under construction. They're doing something to it. I don't know what they're doing to it. It's sort of weird. They just remodeled that thing right before COVID too. So, and it's nice and big and bright and totally different than it used to be. So I'm very curious to see the remodel. But because of that, we live here now in internet land, and we're doing a Zoom today. Next year, hopefully, I usually do a couple of these different ones, different topics each year for OCR. So hopefully next year we'll be back in living color and can do it live again. Sometimes I'm in the Fountain Valley office, sometimes I'm in the Laguna Hills office. So if you ever see me, and there's the YouTube link right there for you, Elise, Elsie just put it up. There is, if you ever see me doing another topic, if it's something you want to sign up for, please sign up for it, get yourself involved. All right, so super fast, a little bit about me. I no longer sell real estate. That's probably a good disclaimer to give to everybody. I no longer sell real estate. I did sell real estate. In 2007, the Wall Street, 2006, apologize, 2006, the Wall Street Journal did say that I was a number 9 agent in the United States with 321 closed transactions as an individual agent. And so I did sell real estate and I was pretty good at it, but I don't sell real estate anymore. I spent about a decade coaching, speaking, training all across the United States, even internationally, all across the Europe and the Middle East. And then I launched and co-founded our own little firm here in Orange County again. So now I'm back to not selling real estate, but helping agents succeed. And so while I'm doing that, I do a lot of things with OCR. I've been doing things with them since before COVID, did a ton of stuff during COVID. And then post-COVID, we've scaled that back down again. And I'm just going to work with you on all the things that I work with my agents, right? And so you're going to get to see everything that we're doing. You're going to get to see everything that I'm teaching them. You're going to see everything that I'm teaching them is because of what I did when I was selling and when I was achieving those big numbers. So we're going to go over all of that today. I'm going to give you my contact information at the end in case you just need to reach out and have questions or you're confused about this. If you want your own copy of this, I'll give you my contact information. It'll be completely up to you. If you want to reach out to me to get it, great. If you don't want to reach out to me to get it, I'll hold this up later more cleanly so you can take a screenshot of it. So you'll have it available to you as well. Want to know what I'm about? It's like, who is this crazy Dan character? I'm usually really funny live and in person, by the way. I don't know that that's going to translate here over onto a Zoom. But you can follow me in 2 different places on Instagram. You can follow at Anvil Real Estate because I'm on there all the time, right? And I do a lot of like coaching on there and give a lot of good information and do a lot of good content for real estate agents on there to look at. So at Anvil Real Estate or at the GSD code, the THE GSD code, CODE. Again, lots of good content for real estate agents just to look and get ideas and learning. And so those are 2 places on Instagram if you're an Instagrammer. I don't really use the other social media channels very much. So a little bit about who I am, where I'm at, get some more tips and tricks and hacks. If you want, give you my contact information at the end and let's get into it. So we are going to spend the next 2-ish hours going over business planning. And I've got 9 different boxes that we're going to spend some time on here, right? And so I'm also going to share my screen with you here in just a second so you can see it better. And that's where you can take some pretty good screenshots. So I'm going to share the screen here in just a second so you can see that. All right. Before we get started, I'd like to ask one question. I'll get you guys into like chat mode, hopefully. I'd like to ask one question. And that question is there anything specific in this? Because you signed up for goal setting, business planning, having a more powerful year and a more powerful business. Hopefully, if you didn't sign up for that, you might be on the wrong webinar. But hopefully you signed up for that. What were you hoping I talked about? What were you hoping was addressed? What were you hoping that you would get an idea about that you would be able to take back with you? If you have any, other than just a business plan, it's kind of a big topic all in, right? It's like really big. Look at all that stuff. Is there anything? So I'd like you guys to get involved now and chat. I'm getting the crowd going, which is hard to do with a green dot in front of me. But what is it that you were here? Like, oh, I hope he talks about this. I really hope he spends some time on that. I'd like for you guys to put that into the chat bar now, please. That would be fantastic. While we're doing that, I'm going to change my chat to respond to you guys to put it to everyone. All right. So I got how to keep yourself accountable with your business plan. It's a pretty good one. Keep going. While you guys are typing, I'm just going to look at the attendee list. We had some more people pop on here. Bernadette, Sienna, Dora, Eddie, Edward, Evelyn, Goonie, Jade, Justin, Lisa, Marianne, Roxana, feel like I know Lisa. I feel like I know you, Lisa, but I can't place a face to the name for some reason. Yannick, Jay, and Young. All right. I feel like I know Alexis Soto too. Maybe you just have a common name. All right. So Bernadette says, simplify a plan that allows monthly updating plan to date actuals. Okay, cool. Anybody else? 20 people on here, and 2 of you had something specific you wanted to hear about. Edward, how I can effectively make sales. How full-time do I have to be? It's part-time, even makes sense. I watched a previous video, very interesting. Was it my video? Just curious. Or like, whose video did you watch? Oh, it was my video. Okay, cool. I was like, I don't like, whose was it? I can talk about that. Okay, cool. Plan to boost productivity. Fantastic. All right. Let me share my screen and we will get into this for you guys and gals. And again, if you want more about something that I say, like, what do you mean? Or how do I do that? Or give an example, or just like fly through on this thing. I just have everything on the right-hand side feeding. So it'll be very easy for me to see. There, right there. All right, so we're going to start on the top line. First thing you need is goals. Now when I did that, I killed my chat bar. Didn't think about that. How do I do chat and have this up? That's okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it up for just a second. I want you guys, this is your opportunity to take a little screenshot of just this one page. Let me see if I open this up, if you get the whole thing. You do. There you go. So you guys can go ahead and take a screenshot of that if you want. If, again, I'll have my contact information at the end. If you'd like a PDF of it, just like email to you, kind of clean. But we're going to work on goals first. Then we're going to work on the reality of life. Gut check time, right? Somebody mentioned accountability. Then we're going to get into the 3 T's: time, talent, and treasure, and how you're investing. Because those are the 3 ways that you can invest in your business, right? You can invest time, you can invest talent, or you can invest treasure. That's time out of your day, your skill level, or money. We're going to get into I got your back, which is, again, a little bit on accountability, the pyramid, and then some action items. So that's what we're going to cover here. I'm going to take this off the screen now. I'll reference it based on here. Hopefully you took a screenshot. If you didn't, you don't need to. Just take some notes. I can email it to you at the end. All right. And perfect. Again, comments, ready to go. Edward is the last one, so I know where we stopped. Okay, goals. That's where we're starting. Goals. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve for the rest of that year? Now, this one says 2024 because I haven't made the new one yet for 2025. When you get the PDF, it will have that reflected on it. The screenshot that you have says 2024. But what do you want to achieve in 2025? Here's what we're doing. We're talking about 2025, guys and gals, not 2024. There's only a quarter left. There's not even a quarter left. There's only 2.5 months of the quarter left. So we're not going to talk about business planning now. We business plan, we goal set a whole quarter ahead of time in the 4th quarter for the 1st quarter. We don't want to get to the 1st quarter and then be talking about, what should I do this year? We already want to know what we're going to be doing next year. So we're working on that now. We don't want to be working on this over like Christmas week, because there's probably things you got to put in place and the things you got to do and organize. It's too late to do that on Christmas week, New Year's week, because the next day you're in New Year's, that the year's happening and you're already burning, churning through days. If you're trying to follow a plan, you're losing days, right? Every single day you lose 365th of your potential earning capacity. So that's why we're doing it now. So what do you want to achieve in 2024? That's the very first thing you all need to think about. And I'd love, now some of you are going to be totally shy, I know that, and not type. I would love, because it gives me something to grab onto here and gives me a little bit of an interaction instead of the green dot. If you guys would sometimes share things. So every once in a while I'll be like, hey, somebody share something. And so if some of you would share, that would be fantastic. But what do you want to achieve in 2025? You can't achieve it if you don't know what it is. So you need a very clear picture of, here's what I want to achieve in the year, because the rest of my business plan is going to be in support of those things, that thing that I said, those things that I said. All right. And so what do you want to achieve? It can be units. It can be volume. I would like to point out this is a business planning session, not a life coaching session. So we're not going to talk about maybe necessarily you want to lose weight. Great. Do it. Eat healthy, work out more. That's not going to be in here though, right? Want to, build more wealth, invest it more wisely, be more frugal. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about business planning in here. So I want you to keep everything to that. So net profit, that's a great one. How to get net profit, right? Not how to invest and build wealth. Okay, so it could be market share, units, volume, net, gross. It could be anything. What do you want it to be? What do you want it to be? So you have to get really clear on that. So 120,000 net profit. And I'm curious, in net for different people mean different things. It could be in net after splits. It could be net after expenses. It could be net after taxes. There's a lot of different things. Whatever yours is, just get clear on what yours is. Okay. Roxana, get a listing and sell a house. All right. So let's take a listing. Let's get a commission check, right? Cha-ching. Okay. So tangibles, you have to have tangibles. You can't build a business plan around a vague idea. I want to be more successful. That's not going to get it done. You have to have tangibles in your business plan. So that's the very first thing I want everybody to kind of think on and work on is what could you do? What do you want to do that's tangible? All right. So even if you're not going to share, here's what I want everybody to do. Hopefully you have something in front of you to write with. If not, I'll give you like 30 seconds. You should be able to get something to write with pretty quickly. I want everybody to write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. Do not write more than 7. Right? Worry about achieving a 7 before you try to make 30 goals. I could even buy into like 3, 4, 5. So no more than 7. Write down what is your top goals for next year, because you're going to reference those on this same piece of paper that you're writing on as we go through this together. So get those written down. Anybody else have one they want to share? I got 2 of 21 brave souls out there right now. Okay, so that's the goals part. What are some significant expenses and investments we should prepare for, like taxes, marketing? What's the realistic breakdown of expenses? How much do we need to gross to get? That's great questions. We are going to probably handle most of those in the treasure section. So those are great questions. Edward, sell a few homes. The only thing I want you to do, Edward, is I want you to nail that down. Is a few 3? Is a few 2? Is a few 5? Like get solid on what a few is. And I know you're like, hey, a few is better than not a few. Agreed. But for business planning purposes, very specific. So figure out your own personal number. You don't need to share it here, but just work on that for yourself. All right. So then we have the second part of this, the reality. Right? That's what we're going to get to next. Now, again, all of these will have 1 year on top of them added when you get your PDF. Don't worry about it. Goals for 2024. So your goals this year. You're looking back. We're in October. We've had the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter. We're in the midst of the fourth quarter now, trudging through it. What were your goals in 2020 in 2024 that you set in 2023? Did you hit them? Did you hit your goals for the first, second, and third quarter? Are you on pace to hit your goals for the entire year? Right? Like, it's like, okay, I wanted to do 5 and I've done 4. That's 80%. And I still got 2.5 months left. So I think I'm on pace. I want to do 5 and I've done 1. I've got 4 left. I did 1 in 9 months. Can I get 4 in 2.5 months? That's probably going to be the definition of off pace, right? So did you hit your goals? Are you on pace to hit your goals in 2024? The ones that hopefully you set for yourself back in 2023. Ask yourself this question. What got in the way of hitting your goals? Now, that's the second time I'd like a few brave souls to share, please. What got in the way? Because what you say is probably going to resonate with all of my scaredy cats who aren't typing out there. What got in the way of you hitting your goals in 2024? If you guys would share that, that would be fantastic. What got in the way? Because some of what got in the way was unavoidable, right? Jade put the market. The real estate market in South Orange County is going to do what the real estate market in South Orange County is going to do. You can't control it. You've got to bob, weave, and pivot with it, right? But the market being slower could very well equal a then slowdown in your business if you didn't pivot. So the market getting in the way. Comfort zone, life, and procrastination. See what we're hearing, guys. Some of these things were unavoidable. Family, motivation, fear. Some of these things were unavoidable. Some of them were avoidable. Fear, motivation, procrastination, comfort zone, and even sometimes life, family obligations. Families come up a couple times in that list, right? Sometimes those are avoidable too, but not as easily avoidable as some of the other ones I just mentioned. It just becomes a time management issue. And we will get into that when we get to the time section here. But there are sometimes things that are unavoidable that are going to get in the way, but most of the time, a majority of the time, what gets in the way is us, right? What gets in the way is excuses. What gets in the way is us figuring out a way to get on our own way. Sometimes it's unavoidable. Most of the time it's avoidable. So you got to ask yourself, you should probably make a list. Like personally, you should each make a list, not right now, but that should be a note, make a list. Be very detailed. What got in the way of me achieving my goals this year? And don't just be like family. My son and his constant doctor appointments. My daughter and her constant blank. My significant other and their constant why, right? My mindset about comfort zone kept me back from doing this. My mindset and my fear held me back from doing that, right? You should really figure out the reality of why you did not hit your goals. You can't just not acknowledge them. You can't just be like, I'm just not even going to acknowledge that I didn't do it because I don't want to think about that stuff, Dan. That's bad, unfriendly stuff. I don't like that kind of stuff. You have to figure out what stopped you. You have to figure out what the roadblocks were. You have to figure out the things that got in your way. If you don't identify them and do something to solve that problem, they are just going to rinse, repeat, and do it again, right? It's just going to happen. Like we have to identify what it was and then figure out a way to not have it happen again, not acknowledging it and just having it happen again because we stuck our heads in the sand. It's not the game plan here with the business plan, everybody. So you got to figure out what they were, get very clear on what they were, so that then the third part of this, gut check, the third part can come into action because that's where gut check comes in. Gut check comes in, taking a look at the reality, taking a look at what went wrong and what went right. How do I do more of what went right? How do I do a lot less of what went wrong? And what's my gut check for, am I going to do what is necessary to succeed? Am I going to do what is necessary to make change? Because what's that old Einstein, totally cliche saying? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. If you do the same thing over and over, you're going to get the same results over and over. Identify what needs to change, work on executing the change, get different results. We have to identify the reality in the second column. Third column, gut check time. What does need to change in 2025? Now that you know what you did, now that you know what got in the way, now you identified if it was an avoidable or an unavoidable thing. And I will challenge you, Jade, to say, even if you put the market, I know lots of agents, as do you, Jade, and you guys, I know Jade, as do you, Jade, who are having their best years ever in spite of the market. So the market, I wouldn't put down as an unavoidable, because unavoidable means there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. They're having their best years ever. How? With the market we've had. So You gotta have that, right? So gut check time is what needs to change in 2025. And it's hard. This stuff isn't the easy stuff, guys. That's why it says gut check. This is not the easy stuff, right? Some of you who are on here know me. So some of you who are on here know that while it's not like a actual problem for me, like drinking alcohol, I, in this last couple of months, have really stopped drinking alcohol, right? Personal reasons, supporting somebody else who had to stop drinking alcohol. So I decided to like go in it with them to be supportive. I love my beer, right? I love my glass of wine with dinner. I love my vodka and Red Bulls, but I wanted to support them. So I've stopped drinking for about since July 5th. So however many months that is, several. I didn't know I was doing it to be a supporter. I didn't know that I was going to continue to lose weight. I didn't know that I was going to feel healthier. I didn't know that my skin was going to be a little bit better. I didn't know that I was going to have more energy because I'm a pretty energetic guy. Almost dropped the F-bomb there. Dave from Oakar really doesn't want me cussing on these since they record them. So it's like a whole struggle for me. Yay, me, I did it. So I didn't know that I was going to have more energy. I have so much energy. I'm like the Energizer damn bunny, you guys, right? I didn't know that I was going to like be able to wake up a little bit earlier. I was going to not know that I was going to sleep as good. Like all these things happened, right? Go to different events, or I have 2 kegerators at my house. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with them because I love beer, right? But I have 2 kegerators at my house that are currently now being unused. So what do I need to change in 2025? Maybe it might be on a personal front. Maybe it might be like, I do need to exercise more. Not because it's a personal goal, but it would actually help me in business, being a little bit more physically fit, or drink less because it would actually help my business, right? And waking up earlier and being more productive and being less sluggish. That's probably all good things for your business, right? When you think about it. So they're like, that's a big one though. That's a big one. What are you going to change that's maybe a little bit smaller, right? Waking up earlier, working a little bit longer, staying a little bit later, doing that thing that you hate doing a little bit more often, or that you've never do because it's outside your comfort zone a little bit more often, or a lot more often. Check this out. If you get out your calculators, everybody has a phone. You all have phones. I know you have phones. And if you're watching the Zoom on your phone, don't do this because it'll be hard to find me again, probably, if you're like me. Sometimes on the phone, I can't get back to the right Zoom screen. But if you take, if you were to get an extra half an hour a day into productive time, an extra half an hour a day being productive in the morning, and then you were to be productive an extra half an hour a day at the end of your day. Forget about the whole day and forget about if you're already doing X or Y. Just add a half an hour to the morning and add a half an hour to the evening, afternoon, whatever, right? That's 1 hour. You take that 1 hour on itself, and it's kind of like eating a donut. If you eat a donut today, you're not going to be fat tomorrow. If you eat a donut today and every day for the next year, there's a good chance you might be a little fatter a year from now, right? Donuts are not a food group, as it turns out. So one donut won't do it. 1 hour, one day won't do it. But you take 1 hour a day and you put it on a whole year. And let's say you work about 250 days a year. It's pretty simple math, right? If I work 250 days a year, damn, some of you might be 250. How many days are there in a year? 365? I think I work 372, right? But let's just use 250. Go with me on this. You probably work more because you guys are real estate professionals. It's a position, the career you've chosen, and it's an 8-day-a-week gig. 250 work days, half an hour on the front end, half an hour on the back end, 1 hour a day equals an additional 250 productive hours over the course of a year that you've worked. Check this out. 250, I'm going to get my phone out because I'm not on a Zoom. 250 divided by 40 is 6. 6 1/4, actually. What did you 6? That's 6 weeks, 40-hour work weeks. That's 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Like you had a regular job, punching the clock from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday for 6 weeks. Okay. I want you guys to think about how long 6 weeks ago was. October 9th, September 9th. It was like 2 weeks before Labor Day, guys and gals, which seems like a long time ago, right? That's how much time extra you would get. 6 weeks of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, back in productiveness. So that's an example of if time, like trying to get a little bit more out of my workday, Dan. If one of you gave me that example, nobody did, but I'm just throwing it out there. That would be an example of understanding this saying. Math is the path. Understanding that you put the math together. It's not about that one day donut. It's not about that one day hour. It's a cumulative effect over the course of a year's business plan. All right. So how are you going to change in 2025? I've had one person put an answer. I'd love 2 or 3 more. Time blocking and sticking to it. Time blocking and sticking to it. It was great. It's a really good one because it's easy to make the schedule. Tough to follow it, right? So if you guys would share that while you're sharing, this is something I started doing just about 2 years ago and actually sharing with our agent partners here. What are your 3 non-negotiables to move the needle every day? See, if you go to work for the whole day and you just do stuff, non-productive stuff, busy work. If you go to work and you work all day and you don't move the needle of your business, whichever way that would be to you guys visually, I don't really know. If you don't move the needle of your business, why'd you go to work? If you're going to go work a whole day and not move the needle of your business in a positive direction, couldn't you just taken a day off? Could you just gone to the beach, hung out, walked, read? Might have been better for you. Got some sun, got some regeneration time emotionally, mentally, physically, right? Got to relax, maybe even read something that was good. Think about it. Like you might get more out of a day at the beach than what you did going to work if you went to work just for the sake of effing going to work, right? You went to work just to go to work and be a hamster on a wheel and not really do anything and just be there and be busy and hope to, gosh, something happen in real estate. You might have been better spending your time at the beach and reading a good book. That's kind of a weird reality gut check, right? Like, oh my gosh, I think he's talking to me. Some of you are saying that to yourself right now. Oh my gosh, I think he's talking to me. I literally could have spent the day at the beach and I would have been, my business would have been no worse off than how I spent my day yesterday. Would have been literally no different. Think about that. So what are your 3 non-negotiables to move the needle? I must do A, B, and C every single workday, Dan. No matter what happened, and a lot of my agents that I coach with, I'm always saying, what are your 3 non-negotiables? Are you doing them? Why aren't you doing them? What do we got to do to get you doing them? Sessions that we constantly have, right? Because, guys, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? You're not like trying to like invent fire. You're just keeping it going. You're just sanding the wheel off just a little bit, right? Just sanding it down so it rolls better. So you don't, and that's just like, don't do everything. Just do 3 things. 3 things, my non-negotiables. If I did them every day, I know my business would be better. Dan, what are those 3 things? You need to identify them. I got one person, by the way, on top of Alana. So good job, Edward, to share what they're going to change. Actually spending time prospecting or learning forms and zip form and commit to it. So I'd love for a couple of you, it's more than one, plural, to share what your 1 or 2 or even 3. And if you don't have 3 non-negotiables yet, what is your 1? If you have 2, great, share them. But what are your 3 or up to 3, some non-negotiable that you're going to have for 2025, come hell or high water, no matter what's happening, no matter how busy you get, no matter how distracted you get, no matter how down or depressed or up and exhilarated you get, you will get these things done every day next year. That is going to be a commitment you make. If you'd share 1 or 2 of those now, that'd be great. You definitely all need to come up with 3 non-negotiables for next year. Now, some of you should at this point maybe be asking questions. If you've noticed, I'm still the one pretty much asking the questions here, right? You guys should probably be asking me questions right now if you're dazed and confused. If you're like, Dan, I don't even know what to do, bro, right? If you're a little bit like, oh, this is great advice, Dan, but how do I figure it out? I get that. But this is your chance. Should maybe be like poking me, dropping questions in the chat. We can handle them here. So don't just have me asking you questions to keep you involved, which I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job of. You should be asking me questions too, and take a little bit of heat off of me. So, all right. I have a little calendar over here. I'm marking stuff off just to make sure I stay on track for when we're supposed to be doing things. And I'm a little bit behind right now, but that's okay. We'll still wrap up on time. Do they have to be business related? I don't know. I feel like they should probably be business related, but go ahead and ask a question, and then I'll tell you whether or not that's business enough related, I guess. But I feel like it's a business planning session, not a life coaching session, right? So you think if it's something that would still apply to business. Do planning on calling the day before and add the scripts to the note and on the go, consistent cold calls, 2 to 3 open houses a month, drink coffee on the Peloton bike, drinking morning coffee on the Peloton bike. I don't know how you do that, but good for you. If I tried to drink Peloton when I was on the bike, it'd spill that all over me. I'd be a mess. I'm always like just grunting and groaning and sweating and bouncing. But yes, that would, but maybe the trick is getting on the Peloton. Maybe you're already drinking the coffee, but you're trying to get on the Peloton too. Maybe that's what it is actually. Good idea. What do you have as your own non-negotiable when you were a new agent? That's a great question. What do I have as my own non-negotiable as a new agent? I didn't necessarily, because I didn't have this whole non-negotiable move the needle thing. I got this from a buddy of mine a couple years ago, and I think that's some good stuff. I'm going to start doing that. So I didn't really have that, I guess, as a per se have 3 non-negotiables. It wasn't a thing, but I did have 3 things that I did do, weirdly enough, when I think about it, that I did every day. And I called it the 3 Ps, right? I called it the 3 Ps. And every day I had to do the 3 Ps. So I guess in a weird way, I did have 3 non-negotiables to move the needle without ever really realizing it until this moment. I never really realized that until you asked that question, Yannick. That is the 3 Ps. Every day I needed to practice. I needed to get my skill set better. I needed to improve my vocabulary and my delivery and my presentation and my objection handling and my knowledge and just everything. So I practiced the art, the skill of real estate daily. That's 1. Number 2, previewed. Saw property every day. If you want to be a successful real estate agent, the number 1 secret that's really not a secret, but is a secret, I don't know why no one talks about this and nearly enough, is you got to know your inventory. How are you going to sell it if you don't even know it? Right? They don't, like, you're like, I'll find it on MLS. They'll find it on Zillow, people, right? If you're using the MLS like they're using Zillow, you might want to get out of business, unfortunately. Sometimes I say things that sound meaner than I mean them to say, sorry. But really, you need to know your inventory. So every day you should be studying the inventory, previewing. Even if you can't get out and preview the property live and in living color and seeing it for real, you should be at least studying it online, learning the inventory, seeing the houses, the floor plan, the decorations, the amenities, the features and benefits of the home, comparing them to another one that you saw a couple of days ago. Maybe there's a new listing, looking at the prices and seeing like which one seems like a better deal. We're truly learning the market. Know your inventory. Know what you're trying to sell. Okay, that's the second P. The third P was prospect, right? Prospect is like the 4-letter word for most real estate agents. But back then, that's what I called it. Now I call it outreach. It sounds so much friendlier. Agents don't hate me when I say that word as much. But outreach, prospecting, third P. You can't wait for your phone to ring, guys and gals. You can't hope someone's just going to like you randomly at a grocery store in line and decide to use you. You have to go out and look for the business, right? Your business is really, this is the description, by the way, this is your job description. If no one's ever told you this, this is your job description. If you're a real estate agent, you should think about it in these terms. Your job is to either be on an appointment or looking for one. In its simplest form, you should be spending pretty much all of your time on an appointment or looking for one. Now, in the beginning, you don't have assistants, you don't have a staff. Now you got to do some of that other BS. You got to do disclosures and you got to do repair requests and you got to go to home inspections. But ultimately, In a perfect world, you get successful enough that you can hire that part of it out. So you, as the rainmaking, team leading real estate professional, can spend all of your time either on appointment or looking for an appointment. Right? So those are my 3 negotiables, Yannick, back then. Got a lot of other questions here. As you said, what did I have? What does a typical day look like for top producers? That's a good one. I'll get to that maybe in a minute, probably under the time, which we're about to jump into. Should we have personal and business non-negotiables? I believe you should. I do. I have 9. I have 3 personal non-negotiables every day. I have 3 business non-negotiables that are every day. And then I have 3 just for today's non-negotiables that I must achieve. And those 3 change every single day based on what's happening in the world of business, right? Or in the world of personal. So I have 3 standard personal, 3 standard business, and 3 floaters that they're very specific to that day on top of the other ones that I must get done. GSD, get done, right? That's what it stands for. And so I have 9 personally, but I'm kind of a freak. So starting with 3 would be good for all of you. Don't worry about getting the 9 right now. 3 non-negotiables. Justin shared his. Adhere to a schedule, make calls, focus on marketing and branding myself, but changing it after hearing talk about non-negotiables. All right, cool. Any other questions? This is your chance. Be asking them. Here we go. Moving into the next section, which is time. So moving into the middle column now, which is time, talent, treasure. And those are 3 things that you can invest into your business. Right? These are the 3 things that you as a person, as a real estate professional, as a human being can invest into your business. Number 1, you can invest your time. It's a very valuable, expensive commodity. You only have so much of it, right? And it's fleeting. You can never get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. When you think about it like that, you're like, wow, time is very valuable. You only have so much of it to give. Are you spending it the right way? So time is the first thing that you can invest in your business. And we're going to talk about that. Do you have a schedule? If your schedule is just like, I'm just going to go in and try to do some real estate today. That's not a schedule. That is not even a plan. That is a wish, a dream. Do you have a schedule? When schedule means this, guys, you know when you start, you know when you stop, you know what you're doing in between. In its simplest form, that's a schedule, right? Do you have a schedule? When are you going to start? When are you going to end? What are you going to do in between? Now, the answer for most of you to that question is no. At least broken out. You're like, yes, I'm going to work on Monday. It's not a schedule. It's a statement. When are you going to start? In the morning. That's actually not a time. When are you going to end? When I'm done. Also not a time. So do you have a schedule? So here's the thing. Here's the rub. Everybody got into real estate. Independent contractor, baby. Be my own boss. Set my own schedule. Work my own hours. Right? That's why we got into real estate. That's the best thing about real estate. You know what? It's the worst thing about real estate. It literally is the thing that kills most agents. Because left to your own devices, you won't do what you need to do to succeed, or you don't have the right people around you helping you, guiding you to do what you need to do to succeed. You have to have a schedule. If you're like, I don't want a schedule, that's why I got into real estate, you'll just be a statistic. All, not some, all, not a few, all successful realtors have a schedule and they follow it religiously. Why are they successful? I don't know. Maybe because they have a schedule and they follow it religiously. So you got to set a schedule. No, I don't expect you to do that right now, everybody. But I would like you all to think about that. What does my schedule look like? And I'd like you to consider making one. And then after you make it, you got to look at it because you're going to tear it apart, just so you know. I tear lots of people's schedules apart when they sit down with me for coaching sessions because the schedule that they gave me is like, well, 1, not specific enough. And 2, is like, you know, there's nothing in the schedule that actually makes you money. It's literally just keeping you busy. Do we want to be busy or do we want to make money? Busy, money, busy, money. I choose money. So we have to have a productive schedule. Is a schedule that you made productive. Are you spending at least some of your time, hopefully at least half of your time, in what you should be doing, which is on appointment or looking for one? Or you're only spending 3% of your day or 0% of your day doing those things. Because if you're only spending a small percentage of your time being on appointments or looking for appointments, how are you going to have appointments? How are you going to make money? So you got to spend at least like half of your time, and then you got the other half for all of the other BS, right? So is it a productive schedule that you're spending at least half your time either on appointment or looking for one? And then another half of the time, are you doing things like keeping up your files, practicing, previewing? See, the prospecting is already in the first one. For third P is in the first 50%, but that second 50%, are you doing the other P's in there? So is it a good schedule? Is it a powerful schedule? Is it a productive schedule? Is it a profitable schedule? That's really got to say, is it productive? Is it powerful? Is it a profitable schedule that I've made? If you're unclear, might want to consider revising said schedule. Those of you who have mentors, you got to get with your mentors. Those of you who have support, you got to get with your support. You got to have them take a look at it too. You got to get your own eyes off of it, have somebody else put eyes on it and see things through their lens that you didn't see through your very prejudiced lens, right? Because your lens is way different than the reality lens sometimes. So have somebody else put eyes on these plans is a really good idea. Math is the path. I talked about that a little bit earlier. I'd mentioned it here in this little section, but you do have to understand the math and the importance of the little things. Half an hour here, half an hour there, what it adds up to. Can you imagine, instead of basically having a 52-week work year, you had a 58.5-week work year? Because with what you were working and then adding on that time, you effectively got an extra 6.25 weeks or something, 6.5 weeks. So now you have a 52 and 6.5, a 58.5 or so work year. Wow, you're going to get so much more done than your competitors, than your peers with 58 weeks rather than their 52. Math is a path. And then millionaires and mornings. So let's spend a little bit of time on this. This is a question time for me again. You guys have stopped asking questions, by the way. Ask question. I'm making sure. Should we have personal non-negotiable? I did that one. Typical day. Oh, and I'll get to that one, Lana, right now too, in this one. So since we're in the time section, we'll talk a little bit about the typical day, because it does go with this next part, because you said top producers. And so my part that I was going to talk about right now was millionaires and mornings, right? And I feel like that would handle all the questions that are out there. Yeah. Millionaire mornings is the same thing as what does a traditional top producer schedule look like, because they are the millionaires. It looks structured, first and foremost. Again, opposite of why you got into real estate. I'll give you guys another little secret. You ready? Here's another little secret. If you want to be a success in real estate, take a look around at what all of the, not all, but most of the other agents around you are doing. Pay attention to what most of those agents around you are doing. And then go do something different. Because most agents don't succeed. Most agents struggle. Most agents are not successful. So whatever they're doing, it doesn't seem to work, right? So it's very contrarian, but it's always kind of been my model is they're doing it and it's not bringing any results. So I do need to go find something else to do. It's not like 100% solid rule. You kind of give me some floating, like, hey, door knock once a month for an hour. And they're really bad at their scripts. You can't be like, oh, see, they door knocking doesn't work. They don't do it once a month. They only do it for an hour once a month. They don't even get any practice to get good at. And they're very bad and their scripts are very bad. Of course it doesn't work. So you can't really use it like that, right? So millionaires control their mornings. They have structure to their mornings. They get up early. They get up early. So when you have a schedule, but showings pop up randomly for other things, how do you keep yourself on track? Well, first of all, your job description is two things, right, Jed? I'll answer yours real quick, then I'll go back to my thing. She said when you have a schedule, but then showings pop up. And then she said other things pop up. See, the other things you have to prioritize, but I'll give you the showings one. The other ones are priority items. Work-related things, yeah, but still prioritizing. How do you keep yourself on track? So your job description is beyond appointment or looking for one. So if an appointment comes up, you have a chance to go meet people and stuff, you should do that. It's probably better than what you were going to be doing. It's the number uno thing, be on appointment. Second thing is be looking for one. Third thing is everything else. So other things come up, work-related things. Like what? Right? Now I challenge you because you're like, oh, I have to do this. I kind of call BS on that. Because that one thing that's going to pull you off track right now, whatever that example is that you're going to try to give me. Any example you give me, I'm going to win right now, just so you know. So you might not want to put one. Because if you are in Newport Beach, Jade, and you are sitting and you are about to walk into a listing appointment for a $5 million listing. And you're getting ready to walk in, you're pulled up in front of the house, you're getting your bag ready, and all of a sudden your phone rings, your text message alert goes off, something happens, because it was on your schedule to be at this $5 million listing, and somebody wants to take you off track. What are you going to do? Are you going to allow yourself to be pulled off track? Are you going to be like, hit the road, Jack? I got some stuff to do. You're going to go into that $5 million listing appointment. You're always going to go into that $5 million listing appointment. Now, it doesn't have to be $5 million. It's $450,000 listing appointment. You guys are always going to go into that $450,000 listing appointment, right? Rather than that thing that's trying to pull you off. Why? Because it's important to you. It's more important to you than that other thing. But when we have a schedule with things on it that we don't necessarily love to do, and then that thing happens, we're like, oh, I have to go do that thing, Dan. Have to is not a thing, because if it was a listing appointment that was conflicting, you would do the listing appointment. So the have to is not even a thing. It's a hallucination. It's a hallucination. It's a want to use this excuse to go do that thing, Dan. That's what it is. Right? So you have to prioritize. We make time for what we treat as important. And if you have a schedule and you're like, oh, but I had a training to go to. Did the training just materialize out of thin air? I feel like most trainings or things on your calendar are already on your calendar. So you already knew they were going to be happening then. So you just scheduled poorly is probably part of the problem. Make sense? It was already on your calendar. You just scheduled poorly. And again, had a doctor's appointment. You would never cancel that doctor's appointment. You'd tell people like, sorry, I can't go then. I got a doctor's appointment. But because it's like door knock, you're like, what? Yeah, I can go do something else besides door knock. Hell yeah, let's go. Whatever. Oh, sorry, Dad, I was too busy to do door knocking today. You guys get me as my examples? So prioritizing. So job descriptions, back to millionaires in mornings. They control their morning. They have a very set schedule. They have a very structured routine. Routine meaning they do the same thing pretty much daily for the first part of their morning. They control it. They own it. They have it set and they stick to it. They don't just like wake up in the morning and be like, I wonder what I'm going to do today. They already knew what they're going to do today. You know how? Because they planned it the day before. Okay? That's a little tip. A successful day begins the night before. You plan it. Because if you wake up trying to figure out what to do, you're already burning time. Should have that day planned before you go to bed. You also, a successful day begins the night before. What time did you go to bed? Did you have too much to drink? Or eat? Did you eat something bad? And now you're going to wake up in the morning like feeling all sluggish. Did you drink too much? All sluggish, hungover, headache. Don't wake up on time. Can't get up early. Stayed up too late watching Forensic Files or whatever. That's my wife's thing. I wake up and she's still watching people being like killed in the woods on Forensic Files. I'm like, what are you doing? Go to bed. And then did you get up on time and did you like get right into it because you had a plan? Top producers, they have that, right? They have that thing that they do in the morning. So the number one secret to top producers. Now, what you will notice is most top producers have a different plan, have a different routine. It's not the same routine, but it is their routine. It's the thing that they've put in place that they know will make them and start their days powerfully and productively and profitably. Millionaires control the first half of their day is a cliche, and it's a cliche because all cliches are usually true. Millionaires control the first half of their day, right? They don't just run around like a chicken with its head being very reactive all day. They're very proactive, controlling of the first part of their day. And then the second half of their day, they have to go into reactive mode because everything is happening and everything is going down and they got to get in there and they got to do that, right? So second half of the day is more for like the emergencies and the pop-ups and the stuff like that. First half of the day is very controlled. Millionaires and mornings. All right. Any questions about that? You guys type while I look at my screen. I did that. Let me see. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. All right. Next one. Did I miss any other questions? Right here. Talk. No. Okay. Next one. Skills. I'm going to ask the question. Who here spends at least 1 hour a week practicing their skill set? Practicing their objection handling, practicing their scripting, getting better at being a real estate agent. Who here spends at least 1 hour a week? Not just you did it 1 week once. You spend an hour a week, pretty much every week or more, working on your skill set. Go ahead and type your name in right now. Even if you haven't talked, this is a good chance for you to go ahead and type your name in. So if you haven't typed any questions, you can do that right now and like own the board. You don't even have to like, you can just say me. You don't have to use words. So it's not scary. It's not scary, you guys. I won't bite you. 1 hour a day. Does that practicing doesn't include being in the field? No, you're literally practicing your skill set, not like door knocking. That's not practice, that's game time. Like you're at a door and somebody answers the door and you talk to them, you're like, practicing. It's actually the game. Like that's how you make your money, talking to them. So I won't say in the field counts, like actually practicing it before you go into the game. One person does so far. 2 people do so far. Right? So I want you to think about athletes. And I'm going to use a couple different variations of athletes because it's a really good analogy. An NFL football player, since we're in football season. An NFL football player. Do they practice? Now, they're the best football players in the world. Do you know how hard it is to get into the NFL? You guys have heard this, right? You guys have heard like the stats and how many high school players end up going to college and how many college players end up going to the pros, and like the odds of getting into the NFL is like better odds of like getting struck by lightning twice over the course of your lifetime than becoming an NFL player, something ridiculous like that, right? Yet they practice and practice and practice. So if you guys don't know, most football games are played on Sunday. So I'm going to use that as my example. Most pro football games are played on Sunday. There's the occasional Monday and Thursday night games. Now I'm just getting into the weeds. Most of them are played on Sunday. On Monday, they watch film. On Monday, they go into their facility, right? The Los Angeles Rams go into the facility that they practice in and they watch game film of their game. Spend the first half of the day watching the game that they played the day before and seeing what they did right and what they did wrong. Analyzing where they executed and where they failed to execute on their plans. And then they eat, because they're football players, they eat a lot. And then they spend the second half of the day watching film on the team that they're going to be playing next Sunday. What did they do the day before? What did they do well? What did they not do well? Where might there be opportunities? Spend the whole day watching film and eating. And then Monday they get off. Monday's an off day. Sunday they do that. Monday's an off day to recuperate. Tuesday they watch film. And then Wednesday they go out onto the field. They go out onto the field and they start practicing. And they practice for about 7 to 8 hours. So 7 to 8 hours are going to be on the field. Now this is the very best people in the world. And they're practicing their receiver running and throwing in the ball. And the blockers are practicing how to block a person a certain way. Guys have been playing football since they could walk. They all Americans in high school, best players in college, multi-million-dollar contracts, and they're still, okay, make sure your hands are set this way, make blocking. And the running backs and the kickers and the punters, and everyone's practicing all day on Wednesday. And then Thursday, they do it again. Getting ready for, these are the plays we're going to run, guys. Let's make sure we got them down pat. You don't think they know how to block? You don't think that quarterback knows how to throw? You don't think Matt Stafford can throw that ball through a tire, from 20, 30, 40 yards away on a regular basis? Of course he can, yet he's still out there practicing. And then on Friday, they do a small practice, kind of a walk through, like a little light practice, half of what they do on Wednesday and Thursday. Then on Saturday, they're traveling traditionally, and then they get to the field that they're going to be playing at, and they kind of walk it and do a little bit of a walk on. Then Sunday, they go out and practice for about 3 hours, light practice again, before they're getting ready to play their game. And then they play their game on Sunday. And how long is a football game, guys? It's 60 minutes. It's 60 minutes. So for 60 minutes, they play what they spent an entire week, 30, 40 hours practicing. Best in the world, putting in 30 to 40 hours of practice before they go play that game. How much time do you spend practicing before you go on a listing appointment? How much time do you spend practicing your buyer presentation and all that good stuff before you meet a buyer? How much time do you spend practicing compared to an NFL pro? Now, some of you will be like, yeah, well, Dan, if I had made that much, I'd practice too. Right? Horrible argument, but I'll give it to you. Some of you are saying it. If I was making a couple $1 million a year, I'd practice too. It's the other way around, guys and gals. To make a couple $1 million, you got to practice. It's not like if I was making it, then I would practice. It's because I practiced, then I made it. Let's use a college athlete. So my son is a collegiate NCAA swimmer at UC Santa Cruz. Just so you know, those guys don't make any money. And just so you know, he's not even a scholarship athlete. He was a walk-on. So he was fast in high school, but not fast enough to get himself a full ride. Now, fortunately, he was super smart too, so he still got a full ride academically. And then he walked on to the team as a walk-on and got the last spot as a walk-on player, swimmer. Now, he's a junior. That was his freshman year. Now he's earned his spot, and so he's keeping his spot, which is great. But so you know how many days a week they practice? 6. He gets Sundays off. He practices 6 days a week. And 3 of those days, he practices twice a day. Right? So he goes to the pool at 5 a.m. and swims until 7:30 a.m. So 5 to 7:30, 4 days a week. He's got little late morning ones in there once or twice a week. And then he goes back to the pool most days and swims from 4:30 until 6. Right? So he's not getting paid. Just want to point out the fact that he's not getting paid. He's not a scholarship athlete. He doesn't have to. It's just what it takes to be a successful swimmer at the collegiate level for an NCAA team. If you want to win, if you want to be good, if you want to compete, if you want to not get smoked in the pool, you must practice and practice and practice and practice. And he's not even getting paid. Now, if you guys go on a listing appointment and you get that listing signed, how much money do you make? How much money do you make? Now, how many listing appointments do you all have? Do you all have like, Dan, I have so many listing appointments. I do listing appointments 2 or 3 a day. I do them all the time. It's no big deal if I don't get one. Or is it more like, I don't really get a lot of listing appointments, Dan. So when I do get one, it's super freaking important to me. I feel like it's that one, right? I feel like it's super freaking important to you. So it's not like they're just coming out of your pocket. It's like, no big deal if I don't get it. I'll just get another appointment tomorrow. It's more like, oh my gosh, I haven't had a listing appointment in a while. It's so freaking important to me. So with that being the case, and the fact that you're going to make a lot of money, do you practice or do you go wing it? Do you practice or do you go wing it? Most of you are going to know the answer to that question. Is someone in the marketplace more skilled than you? Is someone that you're competing against more skilled than you? I didn't say more attractive than you. I didn't say has been in the business longer than you. I said, are they more skilled than you? Because I am not going to out attractive very many people, right? It is what it is. I sound like Kermit the Frog. I look like Larry David sometimes when my hair gets a little fuzzy. Like, it is what it is. I'm not going to out attractive nobody. But could I work on my skill set, my talent, and out skill them? Could I have more talent than them? Absolutely. Why? Because it's who puts in the most effort, who puts in the most work, who gives it the most time, right? Time working on the talent. I could definitely out talent people. I could definitely out skill people in a marketplace because I would work on it. I would practice. You know what I'm really bad at? Golf. Oh, I'm such a bad golfer, guys. So bad. I like playing golf. I'm so stinking bad. You know why? Never practice. Play once a month. I go out there. I don't even practice. I don't even warm up. I just literally get there, pay the dude, walk to the first hole, hit my ball. He goes crazy because I suck at golf. One of the guys on here has been golfing with me before. I'm really bad at golf, guys. We don't even call it, when Dan goes, they don't even call it golf. Honest to God, they don't call it golf. They call it Dolph. Because Dan's got his own way of playing golf. It's really bad. Dan's got his own way of playing, right? Eddie King, he's on here, I believe. He can attest to that. It's Dolph. Why? Because I don't practice. No warm-up swings. I don't go out there and driving range. I'm allergic to the drive. I just want to go play golf. I used to want to just go play golf and have a beers. Now I just go play golf and have waters lately. But I'm so bad because I don't practice. I could be okay at golf. I wouldn't be like Tiger Woods or nothing, but I'd be like okay. I want to be embarrassing. At least they want to call me Dolph if I practiced. But I don't. So that's the result. Do you want to be the Dolph of real estate? Really? Think about that. I would be like, nah. If it's important to me, I don't want to be the Dolph. From now on, you guys are always going to have Dolph in your head now. I don't want to be the Dolph of real estate, Dan. I want to be more skilled than people I'm competing against. How do you do it? You practice, you put in time, you work on it. That's how you get more talent. That's how you get more skill. A lot of these, when you do get this printout, it'll say what needs to change in 2025. So what do you need to change with your practice in 2025? What do you got to change with your skill level, with how you're applying your talent, with how you're getting it and how you're applying it in 2025? Just had 2 people pop on. Hey, you guys who just came on a little bit late, it's cool. This is being recorded. It will be emailed to you. You will get it in a couple of days. So the stuff that you've missed, you can go back and watch later. You can stay with us live in living color right now, moving forward. Okay. So what needs to change in 2025 in terms of talent? That's something you need to think about. Okay. Questions about that one. That one usually has, oh, look, and there it is. Question numero uno. That one usually prompts, I've done this enough times over the years, everybody, that I usually know what, when questions, especially in front of a live audience, I can see people's faces. I can see them thinking. We make eye contact and I can be like, give them like, and they'll, yeah, I got a question. Right now, I can only see me, right? So tough for me to like urge you to ask questions. What resources would you recommend to build our skill sets? Now, somebody said something about this up above. Let me see. Edward said, I do not do that. Just practice by recording myself on the phone. So I should get a visual. Hey, recording yourself on the phone is if you're making phone calls, there's a whole theory about NLP that maybe visual would be good for you. But if you're listening to your calls, reviewing film, it's still reviewing film. It's reviewing film for the game that you're playing, not in the NFL where it says visual, right? You're reviewing film for your game, which is actually audio. And for those of you who use Follow Up Boss as your CRM, it will record the calls for you if you want, that you can listen to. So, but yeah, that's the kind of film that you could be reviewing, Edward. Listening to it, like, what was my tonality? Did I ask the right questions? Did they pause? Did they ask a question and I didn't really answer it the way I should have? Right? Who controlled the conversation? Did the conversation go anywhere? Was I leading it or was I following? Was I asking closing questions? Was I digging? Was my tonality seeing me as a voice of authority or making them question me? There's all these things you can listen to. So, and again, if you have mentors, you have somebody else that's with you, listening to the tape with your mentors and stuff, really good idea because they can point things out, right? That maybe again, that you're ears might not hear. The lens is sometimes different. This lens is sometimes different too. But that is really good film for you to be listening to, Edward. Yannick, okay, so what resources would you recommend? So that's one, listening to your film. Now, two, I will say, Edward, there is the visual component, which is pretty interesting. It's very high level, but having a video of yourself while you're having these conversations is sometimes very telling, because our body language impacts our tonality, and our tonality impacts what the other person hears. And so we might be thinking we sound powerful, and then when we listen to the tape, it might be like, wow, I didn't sound powerful. I sounded very doubtful. For instance, a downswing, voice of authority, into sentence with an upswing, and it creates doubt in the ears of the listener. Knowing things like that, learning things like that. We'll get to that in the resources here in a second. But now, what you don't know maybe is, why did I do an upswing there? And if you had a video on you at the same time, and you notice yourself being like, wow, and you see yourself going like this with your hands, you're going to know that your pitch went up because your hands went up. Your voice will follow your body. Super interesting stuff, right? Your voice will go down when a body motion goes down. And so you might pick up on, like, that's why I keep doing upswings, is because I keep raising my hand and doing crazy things like that. So video could be cool, but it's pretty high level. I'd worry about the audio first. I don't have someone to practice with. Yeah, you got to get around a group of people who will practice. Like, we have a role play group as part of our firm, right? That they're doing role plays every morning together. I think at like 8:30 or something. I actually don't lead that. A couple of our agent partners lead it, and it's very self-run. I just know that they're jumping on there and learning from each other. You got to get around a group of people, someplace at your office, other friends, people you meet at seminars, whatever, who you can role play with. You got to get involved in a group like that. It's just better. You don't have to, but it's better. Doing it all on your own, a lot harder than doing it with others, right? So if you can get with other people. Reading some books on sales, Yannick, I think would be really good. I think everybody should read a book called Social Styles Handbook. It's a little red book written by the Larry Wilson Institute, or Larry Wilson, depending on what edition you buy on Amazon. Larry Wilson or the Larry Wilson Institute. And it is Social Styles Handbook, red book. I think that's a very good book that everybody should read. Everybody should, and it gets into personality traits, and how to communicate with different people. So I think it's a good skill book for building your conversation, question asking skill. Learning all the forms, you guys, learning the BRBCs, that's another part of talent, right? Are you skilled in using the MLS and doing searches? Are you skilled in using a tool that you might be investing in? Follow-up bus. Are you skilled in getting the paperwork filled out quickly and being able to explain it, like the new BRBC and that kind of stuff? All those types of things are still skills. So there's a lot of different things you could be working on. All right. All right. Treasure. Our next one, treasure. Somebody asked this above. I don't know where it was. Rather than me going and finding, if you just ask again, that'd be fantastic. Do you have a budget? We're going to talk a little bit about treasure, investing money back into your business right now, right? In a business plan, you have to have a plan to invest money into your business. It shouldn't be like, I have a lot of money in my checking account, I think I'll go do some spending money on real estate, because then you'll just waste it and it won't be used effectively. And it shouldn't be like, well, I don't have a lot of money, so I don't know if I want to spend any money in real estate, because you know the old saying, it takes money to make money. So you do have to have a little bit of an idea for how you're going to spend a budget, even if it is a small one. My wife, one time, very, very earlier in her career, had a budget of $75 a month for farming. Wasn't a big budget, guys and gals, but it was at least a budget, right? And it grew from there. So, budget. Do you have one? If not, you need to consider making one. Now, I'm going to give you some help here. A lot of people say, how much should I allocate for things? And I feel like that was a question above, but I don't know where it's at. I don't want you guys to have to watch me scroll through a bunch of chat to find it. That'd be super boring for you. So I'm going to give you guys some help here. You should be investing about 20% of your income from real estate back into real estate when your income is between 0 and 200,000. So when you're making So zero is tough because 20% of zero is zero. But as soon as you get out of that zero column and get something going there, 20% of your income. So if you got $1,000, 200. If you got $10,000, 2,000. If you got $100,000 check, that'd be good, right? $100,000 check. They happen, by the way. I see those happen a couple times a year. We even run them through our firm. They do happen here in Orange County. It's fun. But 20% until you got about 200,000 in income. Now that 20% is for business expenses, not just marketing. It's for all your business expenses. Now check this out. You have to pay OCAR, right? OCAR wants some money every year because they got to give some of it to the NAR and the CAR and the CRMLS and all this stuff. So you got to pay your dues every year. And you got to pay Supra. You need the lockbox to work, right? What's that, like $16.43 or something these days? Got to pay Supra every month. Might have to buy a lockbox. Might have to buy a Super box because you got a listing. Might have to buy a for sale sign because you got a listing. Might want to have, you might buy some business cards or one of those cool digital business cards. We have those. Those are all actual business expenses. You might be driving all over like a UPS driver and keeping track of your mileage. Total business expense. Car payment. Don't count that in the 20%. Now, you count that when you're doing your taxes, guys and gals, because Uncle Sam will allow that. But here's the deal. I know a lot of people, well, that's not true. I don't know anybody who works at Taco Bell, but when I go to a Taco Bell, they see that there's a lot of people working there. And if I were to stay there until they got off work, I'm going to see a lot of them get off work and get into a car and drive away. So I feel like it's not really a business expense since people at Taco Bell have a car too. But the IRS will allow it, so you should do it. But in my particular case of math for 20%, I'm talking about real business expenses. Cell phone. Nope. All those people at Taco Bell, as it turns out, also have a cell phone in their back pocket. So it's not a real business expense to have a cell phone. It is for the IRS, but it's not in Dan's world. So I'm talking about real business expenses, 20%. Paying for coaching? Yes. Paying to go to a real estate event? Yes. Buying your ticket, buying your flight, buying your hotel so you can go there and gain knowledge and learn? Yes. Mailers? Yes. Investing in tools like Follow Up Boss or Mojo? Yes. Yes. Right? Real business expenses. Okay. Then it should drop to about 15% of your income when you're about between 200,000 and 500,000. You get to take some of it off. About 15% of your income should still be going towards expenses. And then once you get over $500,000 in income, you should probably maintain that at about 10%. So about 10% is going to actual expenses. Again, not taxes, guys and gals, not that kind of stuff. Actual real estate expenses. And after you get over some of those fixed costs in the beginning, then it really does start to turn into marketing dollars and how you're spending your marketing dollars. Okay, there's a question in here or two. What are some significant expenses and investments we should prepare for? Taxes aren't so hard, actually, in the very beginning. So I don't, but you should prepare for them because you're all 1099 and the brokerage doesn't take it out. There's not like withholdings that happen because of that, right? So you're not paying into FICA, Medicare, and that kind of stuff. You don't have federal and state taxes being withheld. So come April 15th of the next year, you will have to pay some taxes. And so you do need to have that money put aside. You should know what your effective tax rate is. If you take a look at what your effective tax rate is, and you'll know that based on, well, I made X, and then I wrote a bunch of crap off that told me that I made Y, because we do that, right? We say we made X and we have all these deductions, and then that line like 42B or something, there's the actual number that we're being taxed on. And then I know that I paid this much money in taxes, which happens to be 18% of that number, not the top line number. 18% of the, of the top line number. It's your effective tax rate. So figure out, like, I made 100, but when I totaled all my stuff down, I made 50, and I ended up paying 10,000 in taxes, which is 10,000 on 50 is 20%. But honestly, 10,000 on 100,000 is only 10%. So your effective tax rate in this scenario would have been 10%. Now, I would like to say that I am not a tax advisor. OCAR has some sort of disclaimer that they put out. I'm going to do the same one right now. I am not a tax advisor. I don't want you coming after me if you come up short on your taxes. Talk to an accountant. But most people are going to take a look at their effective tax rate. I paid 10 on 100 because my 100 went to 50 after write-offs. And so 10 of 50 was 20, but 10 of 100 is 10%. I'm going to put away 10% of my income. I will tell you that most agents put away 20%. I will tell you that most agents put away 20% of their income towards taxes. So now you got 20% of your income going towards taxes, and you got 20% of your income going towards the business expenses, meaning you got 60% left to live on. Okay. What's a realistic breakdown of expenses and how much do we need to get to 120K net after splits? That's a really hard question. Everyone's splits are different. Some of you on lead programs, some of you are not. Some of you are at models where the commissions are higher or lower because you get a ton of support or no support. But again, you should say like you need to have, if you want it to be net after expenses and after taxes, you need to add 40% to it based on the 2020 math I just gave you, right? Okay. Any other questions about treasure? Oh, how do you spend your money is a question I think is out there. So what would you spend it on? You could spend it on farming, a geographic area. You could spend it on like a digital ad campaign, right? That's out there of like trying to bring in leads from like Google or places like that. So you could spend it on digital campaign. You can spend it on like a farming campaign. You can have a demographic farm, not a geographic farm. Geographic, you all live in the same area. Demographic, you all like the same thing, golf, right? Race cars, whatever. And so figure out how to spend some of the money budgeting to that niche. So there's a variety of ways you can use the budget, but you do need a budget. And you, again, should have somebody that you're sitting down with and saying like, hey, Mr., Mrs. Support person for my real estate career, what do you think of this budget? Am I spending it wisely? Am I allocating it correctly? Because it's case by case. You give me 10 people, I'm going to get 10. You give me 20, I'm going to get 20. Like there's no duplication. So you got to be able to sit down with somebody to go over that. But it's an example of how you can use your treasure out there. All right, so it's time, talent, and treasure, all complete. Again, we will get this if you reach out to me. All right, so we're on the last three now. Last three things, and we still got 39 minutes to go. Perfecto. I got your back. It's one of the things that we have at Anvil is I got your back. That's why I'm on your back. Right? You need some accountability in your life. So that's what it says. It says, I got your back. And then the very next word is accountability. See that? I got your back. That's why I'm on your back. You want to accomplish something? You need to tell somebody else. You need to have them hold you accountable. Could be your spouse, could be a coworker, could be whatever that support mechanism is at your firm, on your team. But you got to get some accountability in your life. I got your back. That's why I'm on your back. They're going to hold you accountable to doing what you said you were going to do. They're not going to make it up for you. You're going to say, this is what I want to accomplish, and this is what I'm going to do to accomplish it. And then they're going to make sure and check in on you to make sure you're doing that. If you do not have anyone holding you accountable, you will not do the hard stuff, right? There's a reason that we have weight nutrition coaches, and then we have like gym coaches. So we eat better or we work out better, or we have real estate coaches, right? There's a reason these guys and gals exist. And it's because, again, they look through a different lens, one, and two, they don't accept our excuses. They help us stay on track by holding us accountable and not just taking the path of least resistance, which we would normally take because we're human beings. All right. So do you have accountability in your life? You need to. I got your back. That's why I'm on your back. We have a big sign hanging in our office that says that. It's kind of what we're built on, right? You need to figure out how to get that with people in your own offices, with your own leadership in your world. Super important. Do you have a coach? Do you have an accountability partner? Do you have a group of people that you can rely on to help holding you accountable? Have you told people that you want to be held accountable? Have you declared out loud in front of people what you're going to do so that when they check up on you, you will be embarrassed. You will feel bad if you haven't accomplished it. See, we don't tell anybody because if they don't know, then they don't know. So we don't tell everybody. But we need to tell everybody. Shout it from the rooftops. Let everybody know what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Because when we do that, then we take away the effect of just being able to like, no one's going to know if I don't get it done. No, they will because you told everybody. And you not only told them, but you said, and hey, keep tabs on me. Make sure I'm doing it. Right? Got to have accountability in your life. This is huge. Successful real estate agents all have accountability in their life. Successful real estate agents. Give me 1 second real quick. I got to do something. There we go. Successful real estate agents all have accountability in their lives. Successful real estate agents all have people who've got their back. No one is out there just winging it on their own who's succeeding at a high level. I'm telling you, there's nobody out there who's like doing really good, top producer, who's like crushing it, who's just like on their own on an island. They have built support around them to help hold them accountable to doing the hard stuff. It's doing the things you don't want to do, especially on the days you don't want to do them, that will separate you from everyone else. That's how it works. Doing the things you don't want to do, especially on the days you don't want to do them, that's what's going to separate you from everyone else. Got to get some accountability in your life. Okay. Then we've got this thing that I call the pyramid. I actually didn't plan ahead appropriately, so I don't have it in front of me. Give me a second. I'm going to get there. So yeah, you guys can all take a drink. It's going to take me 12 more seconds to get to this thing. There it is. Cool. I'm going to come back to the Zoom. And I'm going to then share my screen. And I'm going to show you guys this. All right. This is what I call the pyramid. I will also send you this in an email PDF form if you reach out to me at the end, if it's something that you want. Now, guys, it's pretty easy. It's a triangle. Now, this one is broken up into like a life and business and financial, right? So they're both on here. When this is business planning, my pyramid is really all encompassing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the pyramid real quick with you. I'm not going to leave it up here. I'm going to talk with you about it. I can send you your own PDF, or you can draw a triangle. But all right, let's get rid of that and go back into there. Okay, so the pyramid. First of all, if you guys noticed, it was in one page. It's literally a kind of a business planning exercise to have it all in one page. So everything we've talked about so far, the goals, the reality, gut checking, time, talents, treasure, all on one page, right? Which is pretty cool. So we made it on one page. Somebody at the very beginning of this thing, way back up there, said, I want to have a plan that I can look at regularly and that I can edit if needed. That's easy, right? I'm not sure who said it, but somebody said that, right? That's why we developed this thing. We developed it so it'd be on one page, very easy to look at, not like one of those monster 33-page business plans that you put in the bottom right-hand drawer of your desk and then you don't even look at it all year long. And then next year when you're making another business plan, you don't even know where last year's business plan was. And if you're trying to figure out if you achieved your goals or not, you don't even know what your goals are because they were so buried in that thing. So we got a one-pager that we kind of use, right? So it's 7 levels. It goes dream, goals, plans, activities, right? It just works its way down. And then it's got schedule, tracking, and accountability. 7 levels. Accountability is at the bottom because it's foundational to success. If you don't have accountability in your life, you're probably not going to succeed. So you start with the dream, right? And hang on real quick. I do need to do. Sorry about that. Dreams. What do you want to accomplish in like 10 years? Right? What do you want like 15 years, 20 years? Like I've made it. I'm probably getting close to being successful enough that I can retire. That's the dream. Right? What does your life look like? What things will it look like? I will have this much money. I will have accumulated this and accomplished that. What does the dream look like? Next level down is goals. Next level down is goals. And goals are stepping stones to achieve the dream. You don't just like, I would like to have $1 million in the bank, Dan. You don't just be like, oh, look, Dan, I got $1 million in the bank. No, you got like, I got to put 50,000 away this year, 100,000 away this year, 150,000 away this year. And you build yourself up. They're stepping stones to achieving the dream. So each year you have goals, and those goals are to support the dream. They're the stepping stones to achieving that dream, right? Now, there are 7 levels to this pyramid. First of all, because I love the number 7. I also made the pyramid because I'm a big John Wooden fan, and he had a pyramid, and I love the idea of the pyramid. His pyramid had like 33 things on it. That was very convoluted. I simplified it to 7. It's a good luck number, and I really just needed to be 7 because those are the 7 components that we need, right? Did we have an end goal? Do we have an annual goal? Do we have a plan to achieve the goals for that year? What activities are part of that plan? For instance, I'm going to use nutrition because everyone gets that a little bit easier understanding that than they do real estate. The goal might be to lose 20 pounds. The plan might be to eat healthy and work out more. The activities might be to go to the gym 3 times a week and have a food plan where I cook my dishes on Sunday, meal prep for the whole week. Right? That I cook my dishes once a week and meal prep. Right. So you got the dream, you got the goal, you got the plan, you got the activities. Next one down is you got the schedule. When are you going to go to the gym? You said you're going to go 3 times a week. What days, what time? When are you going to meal prep? Is it going to be on Sundays? You can do it Sunday nights, right? So you got that one down there. And you got the 6th level, which is tracking. Did I do what I said I was going to do? I said I was going to do these things on this schedule that would then be part of the activities in the plan to meet my goals, to help get me closer to my dream. Did I do the things I said I was going to do on the one right above me? And then you get the last level, which is accountability. What accountabilities did I put in place? Did I have different coaches? Did I have different colleagues? Did I have different coworkers? Did I have different team leads? Did I have different firm support crew? Did I have family? Who was helping hold me accountable to those things that I said I was going to do? So that is something that I will send to you guys if you want it. I'd highly encourage you to consider filling it out in this 4th quarter as well for the next quarter. Now, it's intended to be a living document. And somebody asked that above. It's intended to be fluid. It's intended to be like erase, 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 change, 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 edit, 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 pivot, pivot, pivot. It's intended to be on one page, so it's very easy to look at and get a good idea of, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or am I off track? What do I need to change? Maybe I need some more accountabilities. I keep not doing this thing on my schedule. What do I got to do to make sure it gets done? Because it's one page. It should be very easy to look at on almost a daily basis, definitely several times a week at least basis, to make sure you're keeping yourself on track. And while you're doing it, there are 2 sides. There's the personal side, because personal is important. Everybody wants to live a life of balance. Unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that if you are going to be a successful agent, you cannot live a life of balance. You will be imbalanced, but that doesn't mean you need to be like, but you're not going to be like this. Successful agents just don't live this life. It will be like this, but it won't be like this. All right. So, but you do want to put life on there. Time with family, time with loved ones, emotional, spiritual, mental things, vacations, dreams, things like that, all going to go on the personal side. Business side, income, sales, escrows, listings, market share, successes, deals at a farm, working this niche. It's all going to go on that side. You plan the year. You know, the dream, Justin just asked, how far ahead do you plan? The dream is like, Justin, you're pretty young, right? Older than I thought, but still pretty young. I had this conversation with him a couple of weeks ago. So you might be like, I think in 25 years, this is what I want it to look like. Right? Then there's like, if it was me, I'd be like, this is what I want it to look like in 10 years, because I'm already 52, right? So this is what I want it to look at by the time I'm 62. So mine would be different than yours, Justin. Yours might be like 25, 30 years out before you're hitting the 50s, right in that range, or even longer if you're hitting the 60s. So yours would be a little bit longer, but the dream is that one, what it looks like way out there at the end of the rainbow. The goal is this next year to get you a little bit closer in several different ways. Not all the way there, because that doesn't happen. That's not real life. Get you a little bit closer. 2025 is supposed to get you closer to the dream. You don't want to end 2025 being no closer to the dream than you started. It's a whole wasted year. You only got so many years to get there. Got to get there. Got to get closer, right? Any questions about the pyramid? Any other questions about the pyramid from you guys? One page, 7 levels, so it can be simple. easily editable, do personal, and do business. All right. Action items. That's where we're on now. Action items. I was supposed to get to action items at 12:41. It's 12:34, so I'm a little bit ahead, which is good because that means you guys get to get off the Zoom a little bit earlier. If we keep the pace going, we won't actually go till 1 o'clock. We'll get off a little bit earlier, and you'll still get everything you're going to get because we won't just sit here and with dead air. All right, so action items, what you need to do now. Action items, what you need to do now. Well, number one, all the way back to the first square. Set your goal. Plural, hopefully with an S. Set your goals, right? Got to set your goals. You don't know if you've gotten there. You don't even know where you're going if you don't have a goal. How are you going to get to the destination if you don't have a map telling you what it is, right? You're just going to drive? Like, I want to go somewhere. Where? East Coast. Okay, anywhere? Not sure. How you going to get where you want to get? Got to have a goal, right? Or goals. Set those. Very first step. So spend some time working on your goals. Circling a couple year changes I want to make here real quick before I send this out to you guys. Cool. Focus on your goals for 2025 first. Second, we move over to the third one, the gut check. It's time to come up with your 3 non-negotiables. Those 3 non-negotiables should support the goals, by the way. Your goals shouldn't be like your 3 non-negotiables have nothing to do with your goals. That doesn't make sense. It's the 3 non-negotiables to hit your goals. Hopefully that makes more sense to everybody. So 3 non-negotiables. Hang on. 3 non-negotiables to hit your goal. Goals, right? What are those 3 non-negotiables going to be? And are they in fact things that will move the needle, or are they just things that you can check off a box that won't do a dang thing for your business? Because you do not want it to be 2. You need it to be number 1. Things that will move the needle and help you achieve your goals. What are the 3 non-negotiables? Number 3, move into the 4th box. Make a schedule. And that schedule needs to be productive. It's the most important part, which means as a solo agent, which most of you are on here you're not running teams or have teams. You might be part of a team, and that's fine, but you're not running your own team. So as a solo independent producing agent for yourself or for someone else, you need to have a schedule that's productive, meaning at least 50% of it has this on it. On appointment or looking for one. The other 50% is all the other BS, as well as the previewing and practicing. 50% preview, practice, BS, 50% on appointment or looking for one. I have a couple of young guys right now who are part of our firm, and we sit down almost weekly and do coaching sessions and work on their time management and work on their skill set and work on things. And they are both over, one of them's over 25 million and the other one is over 30 million in sales in the last 12 months. They're both in the last 12 months over $300,000 in gross commission income. One of them has been in the business for 2.25 years and the other one has been in the business for 1.5 years. Brand new. Not from here, by the way. One of them's from Colorado and the other one is from Missouri. How are they doing it, Dan? Doing it in a variety of ways, but one of it is they're doing pretty much everything I said today. Okay. So make a schedule that has 50% of your schedule on appointment or looking for one. Then we move over to the 6th box, which is get a budget. Make a budget. Figure out a budget. Even if it's a small budget, it's still a budget, which is better than your invisible budget that you currently have. So get a budget, right? Something you need to do. And then set up a way that you can start following the budget and funding the budget when you get deals going. 5th thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. 5th thing. Who's got your back? Who's got your back? Who's going to hold you accountable? Who's not going to let you slide? Who is going to help you, push you, pull you, drag you, even if you are kicking and screaming to achieving your goals? Got to get some accountability in your life. Who has your back? So you need to work on that. That's action item number 5. You got to figure out who is going to have your back. Action item number 6. Complete the pyramid. Lay out life and business. What does it look like? What is a dream? What are this year's goals to support the dream? What are the plans to achieve the goals? What activities are you going to need to do to work the plan? What scheduled things need to happen inside of those activities? How are you going to track whether you're doing what you're supposed to be doing or not? And what accountabilities have you put in place to make sure that it's being followed? How often are you reviewing it? How often are you editing it? How often are you looking at it to help prompt you to do what it is supposed to do? And number 7, lucky number 7, always 7 in Dan's world. I'm a little probably weird about that. Don't hesitate to reach out to me for help. It's not very many people on here. You guys all reach out like once, maybe twice over the course of like a year or 2. It doesn't take that much of my time, honestly, I've learned. So don't hesitate to reach out. So with that, let me give you some contact information. Contact information. Dan, I don't know about this on the pyramid. What do I do? Dan, I didn't understand this part about treasure. What do I do? Dan, I'm having a tough time finding somebody for this. Do you have somebody I can recommend? Just reach out to me. I can't get to you on the spot most of the time, but I'll be able to get to you in a pretty quick manner. That's kind of like my good karma, giving back to the real estate community. I have agents from all over reach out to me on a daily basis for different things. So here it is, my phone number, 949. This is my actual cell phone number, guys and gals. So write this down, 949-514-5334, 949-514-5334. If you want to get the materials here, I want you to email me. That way I can just hit reply and attach the 2 PDFs for you, right? Reply and attach the 2 PDFs, both the business planning one and the pyramid one that you saw on the screen. That is Dan, D-A-N, at Anvil, ANVILREINC.com. Dan at AnvilREinc.com. Dan at ANVILREINC.com. Oh, and Elsie's putting it. I was just thinking that. I was like, oh, I could have typed all this stuff. She's putting it in there for you guys. Perfect. And then again, want to see what I'm about, get a feel for it, go to the GSD code on Instagram, the GSD code. I post almost every day some good quotes, some good content, or AnvilREinc.com. Good quotes, good content. They're never really the same, by the way. They don't duplicate each other really at all, maybe 1% of the time. So you do get different things by looking at different ones. And I'm constantly just like talking to agents who are just part of the general internet land, Instagram land public, and trying to share good data and information for you. So the GSD code or Anvil RE Inc. No, that's not right. It's Anvil Real Estate. It's Anvil Real Estate on Instagram. The GSD code on Instagram as well. All right, so those are your action items. That is my contact information. If you want to receive these materials, I will get them to you. You will get a copy of this video apparently emailed to you, or the link to it here sometime shortly in the next couple of days, within the week for sure. If OCAR gets bogged down, it might not get to you right away, but it is coming. You can also go to the YouTube link that Elsie posted at the very beginning of this session to watch not only this one, but other trainings that are living in there, other pieces of content that are still available for you to watch and learn and look at too. So we have a little bit of time left, 17 minutes. If you have some questions, now it's time to ask them. If you don't have any questions, you can bounce. If you don't have any questions, but you want to see what other people ask and watch those, you can stay on for a couple of minutes. So it's really up to you. You guys can get out of here. You can ask questions. You can voyeur in and see what other people's questions are asked if you're like shy and don't want to. And I'll give it a minute or two. If nobody asks any questions, then we'll jump off. But we have a little bit of time left that I can spend for you guys. Q&As are always a lot more fun, obviously, when we're live and in person, which hopefully we'll be back to next year. They're always a little bit more fun when we're in person, but it is what we got. So we're going to make the best of it, right? So any other questions for me there we go. Edward Rock, is doing this part-time realistic? That depends. Yes, it's very realistic. You can definitely do it part-time. The second part of that sentence will dictate the answer though. Is doing this part-time realistic to be highly successful and a top producer? Is doing this part-time realistic to learn the business? Is doing this part-time realistic to make X? So I need a little bit more on top of that question, Edward, to answer that effectively for you. Does that make sense? So if you type that, then I can probably answer it, but otherwise it's a little bit too open for me because yeah, it's realistic to do it part-time. Will you accomplish what you want to accomplish? That depends on what you're about to tell me you want to accomplish. While he's typing, anybody else feel free to type as well and ask a question. And again, Elsie has put, I see right there on the screen right now above, the bottom two things on all of your guys' screens should be my contact information as well as their OCR's YouTube channel. Any other questions? And Ed, I'm still waiting for you to give me a criteria. It's not realistic. I will tell you, if you don't want to type it, I'll put in I'll give you some parameters too. It's not realistic to do this part-time and be a top producer. It's just not. All the top producers do this more than part-time. They don't do it full-time. They do it more than full-time. They do it full-time and a half. They do it half full-time and somebody else's part-time. That's a top producer. So can't be a top producer and do this part-time, in my opinion. I will say that these are all my opinion. Nobody in the world listens to me, and karma doesn't listen to me necessarily. So what happens, but my experience is that is one. 16 to 20 transactions though would be really difficult. In Orange County, the average agent, I don't know if Elsie has this data, she probably doesn't. And I haven't seen like data that's been new over the last couple of months or anything, but in Orange County, the last data that I saw, if you take the amount of transactions done, divide it by the number of agents who are part of the MLS, you'll see that the average agent did 0.7 transactions. It's a weird number, right? 0.7, but that was just math, So the average agent does 0.7. The title companies that are out there will tell you that in order to be considered a top producer, what they consider a top producer, and title companies then send their reps out and try to like do fun things with you and try to be working you and in front of you and pay extra special attention to you and offer you more resources if they can legally. Not the illegal kind, the illegal ones. There are certain things they can do, but they're just trying to really get them to people who they would consider top producers, and they consider that 6 transactions a year. So in Orange County, by the title and escrow industry, to have somebody to have a person who's out there trying to solicit your business and get you to use them, they want you to be doing 6 transactions. That's a top producer. So 16 to 20, that would put you in the top 10% of the marketplace, right? That puts you in the top 10% of the marketplace, maybe even higher, but at least. Can't be a top 10% by doing it part-time. Could you do 4 transactions? It's probably about, as in my opinion, probably close to as many as most people are going to be able to do over the course of a year if they're doing part-time. Now, again, there's definitions of part-time. Some people's part-time is 10 hours and some people's part-time is 30 hours. Other people be like, 30 hours, that's a full-time job. Not for some people who work 60, 70 weeks anyway. Is that 70 hours? They're like, no, I spend 30 hours at this and 40 hours at this. So it's part-time in real estate, full-time at my other one. Okay, maybe even a little bit more. I don't know if that helped answer your question by giving you some stats and letting you know what's out there and what title considers, but to be part-time and giving you some guidance for where you could probably end part-time. We're a very competitive market, just so you guys know. We are generally regarded to be here in Orange County. We are the the second most competitive real estate market for real estate professionals in the country. The only one that is more competitive than us is Manhattan. We're more competitive than San Diego. We're more than competitive than LA. We're more than competitive than Miami, than South Beach, than Vegas, than Phoenix, than Dallas, than Charlotte, than Chicago, just Manhattan, and then Orange County. Very competitive market because of our price point. Very competitive market means lots of competition. And so lots of competition means there's going to be there's going to be so many skilled people going after them, and to really be doing it part-time, it does make it difficult to succeed at a high level. All right, next question. The most effective CRM software, hands down, no doubt about it. This one is not arbitrary. It is, in fact, Follow Up Boss. It is industry best. It is what we use at our firm. We've been using it for years. They just continue to make it even better and better and better. And Follow Up Boss is hands down the best system out there. So unfortunately, I don't work for them, so I don't like have a coupon code or anything to give you. But you can just Google Follow Up Boss, I believe, followupboss.com. They'll probably give you like a free month or something. I don't really know. It's been like years since we started using them, but I feel like way back in the day, I got like a free month to try them out. And I thought it was the coolest thing since sliced bread and indoor plumbing. And so we kept using them. So I don't know if they're still doing that, but I feel like they would be. So Follow Up Boss. All right. Anybody else? Any other questions? I'll get a drink while you guys talk or think. Type slowly. Maybe you guys type like this. So I'm waiting for you. I'll give it another 1 minute. See if any more questions come in. If not, we can all leave. But maybe some of you are just watching to see if you can learn what somebody else asks. Maybe some of you want to be brave and ask a question. We got 10 minutes left. Let's see. "30 seconds left." Type fast, type fast. Just hit enter and then finish it in the next sentence, so I know something's coming in case you're writing a paragraph. Anybody? It's okay if you don't. You guys can all get out of here early. Get out here early anyway. I'm not making you stay. Anybody? All right, I guess that's it. Elsie, thank you very much for sticking on and being my back end and sharing the stuff when I forgot to like type in there. I appreciate it. Everybody, thanks for attending. Go out there and execute on this stuff now. Don't just listen to it, do it. That's the difference. Don't just listen to it, go do it. And like I said, invitation's always there to reach out if you have questions. Have a great one, everybody. Enjoy your fourth quarter and get ready for a tremendous 2025.